So I don't know if you knew this. Did you know this? Men are giving up on women, and we're about to find out why with Mr. Chris here,
Aged 18 to 24 have never approached a woman in person in their life.
because they don't have
And
to. It
like
would make
even a
sense for
higher
them to.
percentage, 18 to 30, haven't approached a woman in the last year.
Mm.
Is this downstream from
Oh
Me
no, my
Too?
windows all jacked up.
I have a slightly weird take on
My
this, which
crashing,
is that
my crashing
actually
boys.
the thing you hear about as sort of the thing that
What's the
Gen X
hotkey
people
for it?
talk
F.
about of going up to someone in
Oh,
a
it looks
bar
like I'm
and this being a
screwed,
way of
guys. My
striking
computer's
up
messing up. Did I
relationships.
click a
I think
button?
that was a very brief period of
I
history,
need tech support.
sort of
Give me tech
post-sexual revolution,
support.
but pre-internet, where that was considered
You ever just want to quit and
normal.
disappear? Absolutely
And I'm slightly too
not.
young to have ever actually experienced that.
Honestly, you don't have to, bro. You don't have to talk to girls. You don't have to. You can slide into DMs online. You can take the shotgun approach where you like reach out to any girl you think's hot. Just spam out those friend requests and then send messages. One of them's gonna be like, "Hey, yeah, that's fine. You're cute, whatever." So just do that. You can do that route. You can go on the dating apps and you can just kind of peacock yourself into being desirable by women and lie to them until it's too late and do the narcissistic approach. That works. Occasionally, you can have friends set you up, or you can hang out with friends a lot. Usually, just going out and doing stuff will give you more opportunities to have chances at partnerships with people. So, but if you don't like doing that, then you're screwed. The other thing is you can go online and just like chit chat with girls until you feel comfortable enough to meet up with them, and hopefully they feel comfortable around you too.
The normal way, actually, that people start relationships in the
I
vast
wish I could
majority of cultures
make
is
this.
to be like is like
There we go. There we go.
semi-arranged marriage, right? Like not the full you've never met this
Tilted
person
Cream,
before,
thanks for the
you know,
follow.
13-year-olds,
Wilton,
whatever,
thank
getting
you for the
betrayed, like
follow as
not
well.
like that, but the sort of you're introduced by
Y'all are gonna regret this.
family members, mutual friends, you're known in the community, you go to the same church, whatever it is, and then you're
I
both
felt
of your
comfortable
families
already.
like consent to the marriage, and it works out okay. But
Yeah.
the expectation isn't like the expectation of marriage up until relatively recently was that you would have an economic relationship, and a reproductive relationship, but you weren't best friends.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I don't think husbands and wives used to talk to each other as much as they do now. I think people used to have much more homosocial kind of lives.
Mm-hmm.
You'd hang out with other men, you'd hang out with other women. You wouldn't necessarily hang out a lot with the opposite sex, including your spouse. So this idea that like the going up to a person in the bar is like the normal and natural way of starting relationships, I don't think is historically accurate.
That's interesting. So
Yeah,
the male
why does it have to
aversion-
be historically accurate? That doesn't make any sense at all. Like, of course it's not historically accurate. We're in a completely different time, in a completely different place and in space in society. And yeah, why would it be arranged marriages anymore? It's super archaic. Sure, it does work, and it seems like it had been working for a long time. But in this modern day and culture, like it's not a necessity really to pick a partner with the right person.
felt fear of approach anxiety, which every guy listening is aware of, apart from the psychopaths, right? There is a girl that I find attractive that I either know or don't know or partly know or whatever.
Yeah.
Hi, how are you? Nice to meet you is kind of like a miniature war that you have to go to, and the felt sense of palpable fear
Yeah.
is just ripping you apart inside.
Y'all actually talk to girls?
That
That's insane.
isn't,
Don't do
or
it.
the modern aversion to
trap.
that isn't some novel new problem.
Trap you guys.
It was in your opinion here, a bar that kind of never really needed to be gotten over in the first place in some regards, because you had seen each other at church for ages, or her father owned the farm next to your father's land and you guys had known blah blah blah, like
Yeah.
So
People
you're
have much more
already
kind of static
associated.
social lives.
Mhm.
So yeah, just approaching some stranger and ending up getting married to her is not.
I had this conversation with a guy called Mads Larsen, who is a mating ideology researcher. I'll send it to you. It's phenomenal. And he talks about this, all of the different arrangements that people went through, and the romantic to the confluent, which is what we've moved through most recently, has left us with a really interesting vestige,
Romantic to
which is
confluent.
previously it was they own the farm next door. It was almost like a tactical marriage between the two of you, and then it's no. You're supposed to, you guys are supposed to be together forever. You know, there is supposed to be deeper meaning instantiated in this. But then as soon as you have the sexual revolution, you have confluence.
Overthinking
So
it
for as long as
entirely.
you can benefit me and I can benefit you, I think even Mia Khalifa, who obviously paragon of sexual virtue,
Heard a lot
said
about
on a
her.
recent interview that people think that marriage is some sacred thing. It's not. It's just a piece of paper. And if this person isn't helping you grow, it's time to move on. So they just
That's a
confluent
pretty
like
decent take, I guess.
ideology
Yeah.
you know,
Helping you grow.
front and center. You need to be
What on
helping
earth
them
does that
grow. Yeah,
mean?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'll
Helping
tell
you.
you what that means. Helping you grow. It means that they're not stunting your growth. It means that you have something that you need to get done, and they put more wind into your sails. It means a lot of things, and it's a little bit. It's like not even that hard to guess what they mean. It means that they are in your corner. They support you. They are they a good safety net for you, right? So I don't understand what's so confusing about that.
Prepare for your next porn scene. I don't know, whatever she meant. So you have this really interesting thing, which is that both the two most recent cultures have kind of got like conceptual inertia inside of our heads, that we have this sense, and we were kind of told, and maybe some people think that it's true, that you're supposed to find a person who fulfills you, who is your confidant, your best friend,
Yeah.
your the sexual paramour, the co-owner of your children and the household and all the rest of the things.
Yeah.
And
A
yet modern
partnership,
culture is
a good
this more
partnership with
confluence
romance,
thing, which is they're supposed to
compatibility.
benefit you and help you grow. And these two things kind of bounce off against each other. And then, you know, if we look back ancestrally at what we're predisposed for, it's fucking neither of those two, right?
Survival.
Like, you can say what you want about the truthfulness or utility of both of
Survival
those. It
entirely.
wasn't that. And it seems like serial monogamy is what we're built for, some combination of polygyny and serial monogamy. And all of these, the existing base rate of what we are, plus the two most recent cultures, are just like
Yeah.
like the Bermuda Triangle of mating ideologies inside of our mind.
Yeah. There's this book called the All or Nothing Marriage, which is about sort of, yes, this modern conception of marriage, where
If I were to tell you that I thought that you get about 80% of what you need from your partner, and the other 20 you just kind of have to get over not having, and that's the reason why a lot of people look elsewhere for the other 20% because they feel like a relationship is supposed to be whole, would you say that the percentage is correct? Would you say that the entire thing needs to be thrown out the window? I'd really like to know.
where exactly this, you put so much expectation on your spouse that they will be, you know, you will be perfectly sexually compatible, perfectly like conversationally compatible, you know, everything is perfect. And obviously for loads of people that isn't going to be true, and that's not going to be true for 60 years or whatever that you might be together. And so you end up with this all or nothing thing that, like, some people have absolutely fabulous marriages and some people just they can't possibly take the strain, and so they collapse. And the authors compare it to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, where, like, if you're in a situation of economic subsistence, you basically just see your spouse as like your economic partner with whom you have children, but your expectations are not that high.
One
And
way
then
to
you reach the
survive in
point where you're so
2025.
affluent, right, in contemporary culture, where you kind of regard marriage as, yes, as fulfilling all of these like esoteric psychological needs, which is just not reasonable. So I honestly, this again, Mary Harrington, endlessly quotable. She has this saying that we should abolish big romance.
Yeah.
That the idea of having these
Yeah.
incredible like romantic expectations of your spouse is just pretty much setting yourself up
She's
up to
just
For
a
failure.
one-woman meme machine.
Because
Yeah,
you're going to
she is.
be really disappointed when you set the expectations that high, because people aren't like that. Like, how can you give 100% of yourself to somebody else and then have enough for yourself after that? Math doesn't add up. That math
What
ain't
was your
math, and
thing? It
dog.
was you that reminded me of a story that I'd forgotten from my childhood about ladies dropping handkerchiefs.
Oh,
To
right, as a
signify that
way
they're
of like
interested.
demonstrating.
I've heard of that.
Interest.
Yeah.
So I had this thing with me and David Buss came up with this solution
I know, right?
around women
Kinda cringy.
cultivating receptiveness if they want to improve their dating prospects.
Right.
Now, in a post-Me Too world where we're worried about women's safety, especially sexually, this is something that is kind of
The flag,
difficult
bring
to
it
say.
back.
But again,
Bring
if
back
you
the
want to
flag,
work
you
within the
guys.
confines of how reality is, not how you want it to be, I think that women cultivating receptiveness accounts for the male
Yeah.
approach anxiety problem,
Mm.
right? That, a longer lingering eye than you think, or like, smiling at somebody as opposed
Hard
to
to
doing
tell.
the why men love
Most
bitches.
people's like, does she like me or not radar is really off. Like, I've had girls that really liked me for dropping hints left and right and had no idea. Oblivious, completely oblivious. And then I know friends of mine who are I'm all like, that girl really likes you, and they're all like, she hasn't done anything. I'm like, she's been staring at you this whole time, my guy. Go talk to her.
Just treat him mean, keep him keen
We don't
kind of
know.
approach.
Men are
We're
going
not
to be
good at,
so
and we're
bad
not
at
intuitive
receiving
like
those
that.
signals, though, don't you think?
You might be.
Have you ever
I'm
heard
not.
that the average man of 130 IQ has the like emotional social receptivity of a woman with 70 IQ? Like the difference. This is why my
So
husband
you're
and
saying
I.
that we're
So it's
actually
just
socially
clownery.
retarded?
Yeah,
Yeah.
my my husband and I. Like my husband calls me
Okay.
a witch
I mean, like that kind
because
of
I can
like
like.
that kind of like they're in agreement of what I said, and then they went to some kind of unrealistic, like extremist point of view about it. That was so stupid. Every time I watch your vids, I learn something new for real. Yeah, me too. Every time I watch these YouTube videos, I learn something new, and it's not always something that I wanted to know.
Oh, you've
I'll
got
be able to like
clairvoyance.
Welcome to the
sense
party.
there's something off
You
with
are
this
particularly witchy today
person.
with the olive as well. Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's just women. I think we are just
Witchy.
witchy.
That's why
Witchy.
you were burned at the stake.
You
Bring it
can
back.
just like
Exactly.
sense that something, I don't
And I
know,
see
facial
wizards burned at the
expressions,
stake,
whatever,
right?
something,
Mm.
which most men are just oblivious to.
Blinkers
With
on.
Sorry.
with some exceptions, clearly,
Well,
but
okay, so yeah, well, let's take that as the thermodynamics of the situation. That
yeah,
men are their EQ is 50% of what a woman's is
yeah,
essentially. If that is the case, leaning in even further to not being receptive is going to make said blinkered man even less capable of understanding that maybe you're interested,
oh
Okay.
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I just think that again, another confluence of the Hydra's head of lots of stuff that's going on, the multifactorial problem. Women are maybe being a little bit more masculine, working in more masculine environments, thinking they need to be more disagreeable to be more effective at work, concerned about their own safety, generally skeptical of men that come up to them, strange men that come up to them in a bar, which has led
I don't
to
see any
absolutely
problems
less
with those
receptivity from women. And it's
preconceptions.
like, look, if you are complaining like, where are all of the good men at? Look around a little bit if you can when you're at your CrossFit class or you're doing yoga or you're doing whatever. And if some guy comes up to you and asks some awkward, clunky question, but he's kind of cute, like, don't just presume that he's asking the question. Like, use the
Yeah.
witch clairvoyance, right? Tap into
They
the
turn it
astral
off.
realm or whatever it is that you do,
Selective
and think,
witchiness.
oh,
That's what it must be,
have you heard of
guys.
the
I think I
male
figured it out.
overperception and the female
I think I know the
underperception
answers.
bias?
Is
What else
this
is
with
new?
sexual interest?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's in David Buss's book, that men overestimate the degree of interest that women have to them, and women underestimate, which is largely why you have
I've
awkward
never
passes by
overestimated.
male co-workers and stuff. Well, what do you mean? Like, her eyes, and you saw the way that she looked at me every time we went to the copy machine or whatever.
And
it's
you know,
like,
alcohol exaggerates
That's
that.
reaching. That's called
does it really?
reaching.
Yeah. So
Wow.
men are more likely to falsely
Apparently, if
perceive
you ask
sexual
my
interest
chat, I
when
do
they're
it all the
drunk.
time.
Fantastic.
Which again, it just makes so much sense of all the, like, were you that there was like Me Too but for schools in the UK a few years ago.
No.
It was called Everyone's Invited. It was like a website that some girls set up to describe like bad sexual experiences that they'd had with what
In
they
school?
well, not normally in school. This was the thing. So it ended up being a big headache for teachers and head teachers because parents were obviously really upset, understandably. And they said,
What do the
you should be
teachers have to
teaching
do with
consent
that?
workshops in schools. You should be doing all these things. And the teachers were
Consent
like, this isn't happening
workshops?
in school.
Mm.
Very
Okay.
rarely is this
That might
happening
be
in
helpful.
school. This is normally happening Friday night at some house party. The
Mm.
parents aren't there. Everyone's drunk.
Oh. So
Like
it's
it's
not.
kind of the parents'
Yeah.
responsibility,
How do you
honestly,
want
to
to
stop that
step
from.
in?
Yeah, and it's like, look, you've got horny young men raised on porn plus alcohol. Young women often giving confusing signals. I mean, one of the things that like teenage girls just don't understand, bless them, is like if you say dress in revealing clothes because you want to attract a particular man, that the blast
It's a net.
radius of that signal. Do
It's
you
a
know what I
dirty
mean?
Cast
bomb.
a wide
Yeah,
net,
like
guys.
I was getting a train recently in London, and there was a schoolgirl who was probably like 16 who was walking ahead of me, and she was going up the stairs. and she was wearing such a short skirt going to school that I could see absolutely everything. And I almost jogged after her just to say, like, you're lucky it was me who was walking behind you. And I know that you're doing this because you want to feel, there is a kind
Yeah,
of
tell her why
thrill of
she's doing
feeling
it.
sexy
Mhm.
that young women experience for the first time.
Mhm.
And they have no idea
The
how
power.
potent and dangerous that tool is. So, you do it because there's a particular guy who gets the same train as you, who you want to catch his eye or whatever, fine. But I could have been a creepy bloke. And this is why I think parents have to
Maybe she
be
is a creepy bloke.
banning their daughters from leaving the house looking like that,
If a guy had
basically.
said all that shit, they'd
Because
have
they have
been
no
like,
idea.
"Ooh,
Teenage
why are
girls
you
are
even
just,
looking?" You know what I
I mean,
mean?
teenagers are dumb.
The sort of Me Too
That's
conversation
a
around
general
victim
question
blaming
or a statement.
and stuff is
Teenagers
such
are
a
dumb.
deep hole when you get into it. To talk about, should things be this way? No. Are
Mm,
things this way? Yes.
mm.
Do you want to play within the confines of the thermodynamics of this particular system?
He
Well,
loves
you
that word,
probably should,
thermodynamics.
right? And
Always taking the
to
temperature.
thread that needle,
Exactly. No one
especially
asks.
because I often think about this. Douglas Murray once taught me that it doesn't really matter who makes the best logical argument in a debate. If you manage to get 2 or 3 big laughs, you win.
Yes, it's true.
And
That's
it's
true.
almost
It's all
this.
vibes.
Yep, it's just vibe. You're a vibe
Yeah,
architect, right?
yeah.
And the problem with this discussion, if you have somebody who is very
Yeah.
anti this and is saying that's victim blaming, you absolutely, you saying that you're giving men a pass, you're saying that women should be fearful of what they should wear, and it's like that particular talking point is so empathetically robust in its signaling that it almost always wins,
Yeah.
because the most
Because you can't disagree with it or else you're a piece
obviously
of shit.
caring argument up front that sounds like the one that sounds right, that sounds like the one that
most
you will get the most
moral.
support for on Twitter,
Mm.
is so tough to play. It's like, right, yeah, no, I don't disagree, but look at the outcomes that we get
Called
from
virtue
this.
signaling. There's
One
a
of the
term
things
for
that
it.
progressives really have on their side rhetorically is that if you're a conservative who's saying, look, actually, there was a line that one of my readers sent me from all places. It was a book about making wine, and the line was, traditions are experiments that worked.
Oh, okay. That's not bad.
You can say that when you're talking about winemaking and it's not too politically explosive, but you can
Yeah.
obviously apply that to
I see where
to,
she's getting.
to
That's
social issues
so
as well.
perfect.
I know it's
Just
not a
because
great
people
line.
don't want to hear it
Experiments
doesn't mean it's
Exactly.
not kind of true.
But what you end up, if you're trying to make that argument, and if you,
But what works changes over time. As the landscape changes, so does the strategy and the tactics. So what works in one condition, given the same condition in the future, with variability changes, small adjustments need to be made, or large ones, or the plan needs to be abandoned entirely.
if you're proposing anything remotely conservative, is that you end up having to defend other cultures or cultures of the past. So you'll say, look, actually, there was a lot to be said for the sort of slightly arranged marriage. There's a lot to be said for teenage girls being encouraged to dress more modestly, whatever. And people say, oh, what? So you're saying that you support domestic violence? You're saying that you support, cholera and imperialism and everything that might have happened
Measles,
during the era that
mumps.
you're talking about.
Yeah.
And you have to say, no, I don't know. I mean, you just end up at the back foot.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're a progressive, you can say, I can see this vision, in the future we'll have this amazing society where everything's great. And the fact that this has
I
never
want to be in the
happened and is never likely
utopia.
to happen
It'd be
means that
fun.
you're never in the position of having to defend anything unfortunate. You
Mhm.
never have to talk about trade-offs. I think that acknowledging the existence of
Why
trade-offs
have a
is a
trade-off when you
fundamentally
could just not,
conservative
right?
trait.
Yeah. Thomas Sowell, there are no solutions, only trade-offs.
Yeah, it's really
Right.
painful, but it's true, unfortunately.
Well, there's
In
no
other
no
news,
wrong answers, only
this
trade-offs.
episode is brought to you
That's the
by
thing.
Cozy Earth. We sleep
Yeah.
1/3 of our lives. Do not spend 33% of your life in anything other than unbeatably comfortable sheets. Getting a good night's sleep is the ultimate game changer, and the
Y'all
sheets
want to
that
get
you
me in the
have are a
sheets?
massive determinant of just how comfortable you feel. Cozy Earth has
Come
the
on, chat.
most premium bedding and
What do you think?
loungewear that I've ever found. They're made
Let me
from
come
super
over.
soft viscose from highly sustainable bamboo, temperature regulating so you will sleep comfortably all year round, and an enhanced weave quality that won't pill. So it's
Been
higher
great.
quality, will
You guys
last
are
longer,
awesome.
and you will have a more comfortable night's sleep and wake up up feeling more rested and revitalized.
You
Plus,
guys have been
there
great
is a
tonight. I
10-year
appreciate
warranty
your
on all of their
support,
products.
and
That's
I
how confident
appreciate
they
you
are
helping
that they're
me.
going to last.
And
But
if you
don't just take my
can,
word for it.
follow
Oprah has chosen Cozy
if you
Earth
like the
as one of her
content. If you want
favorite
to do this
things
again
for
sometime.
5 years in a row
Second date,
now. You
please.
can get an
Second date.
exclusive 35%
How you
discount
feeling?
site-wide
Second
on
date.
everything by going to cozyearth.com/modernwisdom and using the code modernwisdom35 at checkout. cozyearth.com/modernwisdom and modernwisdom at checkout. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you enjoyed that clip with Louise, then press here for the full-length 2-hour-long podcast.
Nope, not gonna do that. But maybe y'all should. If y'all really enjoyed that content, y'all should definitely watch the rest of that. Yeah, so honestly, it's not a surprise to me at all that men don't want to approach women anymore. It's not a surprise to me that you kind of have to have a partner of some kind in order to get ahead in life, especially if you want to live above your means. You need a dual income household. There's something called a DINK. It should be that. Dual income, no kids. That's the best way to get by, although it doesn't help the GDP in the future, and you're incentivized to have children, but they're always going to be more expensive than the benefits of it. If you're into that thing, you should definitely do it. Other than that, try to stay single, try to live your life the way you want. If you need to have a partner in order to feel successful or to feel loved or to fill that pit in your soul, then do that. Yep, so I appreciate the time.